Youth Bridge Foundation, a CSO with a vision to empower young people whilst bridging the gap for positive youth development. In line with its vision, has initiated the Youth Awareness Improves Justice project, which is directed at equipping children, young people, and the general public with appropriate information to be more informed on issues on access to justice.
I've realized that there is low interest for people to support juvenile justice activities simply because juveniles who have come into conflict with the law are stigmatized as bad children. And in society, we are boss-set children. We don't pamper them. We think that nothing good will come out of them. Our biggest challenge is families, communities, and the whole nation appreciating the fact that children who have come into conflict with the law, because they committed offenses, can be corrected and can be supported to become responsible citizens for our motherland.
The Youth Awareness Improves Justice project, a YBF initiative with support from Star Ghana, is directed at sensitizing particularly children and young people on juvenile justice system in Ghana. This initiative was implemented on a pilot basis directly in New Draben and Suhum in the eastern region, as well as Gomwa, West and Cape Coast in the central regions of Ghana.
Right, say you bet to me, Akasa, you're right, say like here, but and you're and any right, your bed.
I'm a fabric being found with Pino. Some go market a man there. Jump of fun, a cabana, a family being a bit, a pain that being a family be a bit. And to pay no much action, I'm from
my understanding about children's rights, it is a body that protects children. In some communities, children are not taught sometimes. Children cannot complain even when they are being maltreated. And so the right is there to protect them so that when an elderly person is doing something against the child can fall on the right to tell the person that what you're doing to me is not right.
The Access to Justice project seeks to make accessible to children and young people policy documents that safeguard and protect the rights of children and young people, such as the Children's Act 560 and Juvenile Justice Act 653 in user-friendly formats. With the use of a mobile application and the translation to local languages, the project is far-reaching to people outside the project district and has a national outlook. Unlike traditional projects that had been done in the past, this project intervention had an innovative platform that introduced the use of mobile application to enable children in and outside the project district to have access to information to promote justice for juveniles. Although the project was done in a short period of 12 months, the initial impact indicates that it has contributed to the increase of knowledge among children and young people, thereby increasing access to justice.
The responsibilities, like the aspect of the parents, like as far as you have given birth to the child, it's a responsibility to take good care of the child.
What I like about the program was that it's about the explanation between the juvenile and the child, and the difference between them. I like that because I never knew that there was a difference between them.
What I also like about the program is the differences between the defilement and rape. People don't know anything about the defilement. All they know is rape. So if a 60-year-old man should rape, let's say, a 5-year-old girl, then they'll be saying, oh, this man has raped a girl. Meanwhile, it's not rape, it is defilement. So I like that aspect because it has shown us the clear differences between rape and defilement.
Results recorded in the project districts indicates that Some children, after the sensitization program, have been able to demand their rights, making careless parents more responsible and school authorities and families more alert and responsive to the needs and rights of their children.
In collaboration with my office, we have been able to sensitize most students, especially the GH students, on issues of rights and responsibilities of children, and then many other issues that are child related. I have seen a lot of changes. I am a panelist at the family tribunal at the juvenile court in Swedro, and then those students who are in conflict and contact with the law have actually been able to articulate their rights right before the panelists at the juvenile court, all due to the intervention and then the sensitization of Youth Bridge Foundation in collaboration with my department. I want to cite one classical example of a student who was at one of our programs and who was also before the panel members at the family tribunal. The mother actually filed for custody of the children because the children were living with the father, but the marriage had been dissolved. And the child was a bar operator after school. After school, she will go to the drinking saloon of the father to sell drinks to customers. And so when the mother filed for custody, the panel thought it wise to invite the child to come and explain to us the fact of the application of the applicant, in this case the mother. When the child came, but the child was able to tell us as a child what her responsibilities were and what her rights were.
That guy trapped the girl that she go and buy him yogurt. So after the buying the thing, the guy was going. So the girl saw that he paused at the end of the lesson. So the guy asked him, "No, I won't come. Because I've seen that you had the welcome head about me. Because if you can." Last time the police people came, they told them that if somebody sees the problem, that person has to come inside the room. It means that what has them. So the guy not enter the room. So he called the man, "Bruh, come. The guy not come for this. So the guy went away with the
Feedback from beneficiaries indicates that there is a desire for more of such programs to sensitize children, young people, and the general public on the importance of justice for juveniles.
For the sensitization in the program, I think it has to be ongoing. Secondly, if Bridge can assist us by helping us to feed the inmates and then provide services like blankets and bed sheets for them, and also to take care of their medical.
We need to publicize, or educate parents and the general public that when a child commits, a crime, that is not the end of that child. Most of these crimes the children commit is just out of some circumstance. 95% of these children committed here are either single parents or single orphan or double orphan. The normal thing for us to do, the center here, it is when it is left with about 2 months for the discharge of this, we're supposed to go, to the community, to the child's family, to prepare the place for the child to get back. All right. We are expected to do follow-ups after they have been discharged here. But the issue was not the funds. If you don't have funds to adequately feed, the inmates, do you have funds to travel out? Here is being created like a dumping ground for unwanted children. which should not be the case. Because if your child is here, and you are a parent or a guardian, and you visit this child frequently, you put confidence, you instill confidence in the child.
It should be as often as possible, because, you know, I am a social worker, and as a social worker, it's in my professional desire is to actually help the vulnerable, and then the dregs of the society to be supported with intervention programs, just as Youth Bridge Foundation is doing to support and build these children who are certainly the future of our nation.
As part of the intervention, the activities undertaken includes baseline studies, the launch of the Know Your Rights and Responsibility campaign, the development of SMS, the translation and development of IVR platforms and C materials in the form of posters, brochures, flyers and stickers.
The arrival of YBF did a lot of sensitization activities. I took part in the questionnaire, administration of questionnaire on juvenile activities. This was made possible through YBF. YBF organized a number of workshops during which individuals were invited and were also participants. And then YBF was able to bring other institutions responsible for juvenile activities. For example, DOPSU, for social welfare. We also brought in adults in our the various organizations who also heard, and then I believe have impacted this message to themselves and to others.
Youth Bridge Foundation here, where we know where anything involving youth and juvenile system, they are just on the ground to take it up. So we can always refer such cases to them. And because of the collaboration, we as human rights activists are also exposed to the social welfare and DOPSU. And now we can just walk in with any problem concerning the youth and the juvenile system.
Leaflets or handouts, I'll call it leaflets or handouts or flyers were distributed during sensitization programs. I think those documents acted as reference points. And then community posters were also pasted at special places or all over the place for people. It prompted people to ask why. Those who knew us came to ask for more explanation. And those who could read also asked for some to read on their own. And the school children in particular, having copies of these leaflets, have become agents of the spread of Youth messages.
Findings from the project indicates that there are gaps in terms of systems, procedure and infrastructure in the administration of justice for juvenile. There are also misguided perception on the issues concerning rights of children and justice for juveniles. Key among these issues includes continuous placement of juveniles or children in conflict with the law in the same cells with adult offenders.
Do you think the child should be treated the same way as an adult?
No. Because the child has not grown that enough to know, to distinguish between good and bad. And so if a child go wrong, child shouldn't be punished. He should be punished.
Say, be our one hour, so I want to compare when you penny the and I say, maybe I have power to me handle the same as on my hand.
I won't say I didn't call police station for yourself. And I didn't handcuff to me, sir. I didn't jump.
Because age I'm above 18 going, but so below 15 yeah. And then to soil, what the handcuff.
It is really worthwhile Because when talking about juveniles, we are talking about special group, a child in conflict with the law, and that person needs to be handled differently from the adults. And organizing such a program to educate the youth, to educate the child to know his or her rights, I think it's worthwhile, and it's going to help them in the long run. Koforidua is fortunate to have female and juvenile cells, which I think none exist in the country. But in terms of logistics, we are handicapped.
Denial of fundamental human rights of juveniles, such as basic amenities such as sleeping items and required daily rations, lack of knowledge on the fundamental human rights, defilement and the consequences for child offenders, setbacks in justice delivery for the juveniles due to inactive child panels, absence of a hotline for DOFSU and Department of Social Welfare in an era where social development is highly propelled by technology.
We've realized that the Juvenile Justice Act is limited to a particular group of children. That is, children who have come into conflict with the law. It is silent on child victims, child witnesses, and these children suffer a lot of abuses. Sometimes, because of the nature of their cases, they even refuse to speak out because they are intimidated by the adults who handle their cases. There are other issues in the Juvenile Justice Act that we see as not fully addressing the issues in the justice system. So we've identified some of these areas and we want to improve upon it. When we finish with the policy, we're going to look at the act again and call for it to be reviewed. We are doing that for the Children's Act because we've developed a child and family welfare policy which is at its final stage of being passed as a policy for the country. That too is going to help us review the Children's Act. We're doing the same for the juveniles.
YBF, a local governance and access to justice, indicates that often assumptions that underlie policies appear not to be working. For instance, with particular reference to child panels, they are almost non-existent and non-functional in the district.
I'm very happy that anytime you organize this and then you call us, you come. Come on, together. If you can do it, let me put a couple. I'll be happy. From here, no, you won't need to me here. Yeah, maybe you go to Autumn or you go to Nankasi and with you. If you fully go there, after educating them, I'll give my number them. So I think you are this thing is helping us a lot. Because now we are Ghana, you don't have time to go.
The villages, they don't know so many things about defilement, rape, their rights and their responsibilities. But I think we should go there and educate them on those things.
Youth Build Foundation already sent me a writer, something that can support us to create awareness throughout the country, in all the regions. At the same time, for people to know that juveniles have rights, and we want to deal with the issue of stigmatization, that they are good for nothing children, to promote the rights of juveniles.
As stipulated in Children's Act 560, and reasons accounting for the challenges hindering the effectiveness of child panels include lack of logistics, lack of personnel, and continuous capacity development for members. The achievement of the mandate will continue to be a big challenge when these gaps are not addressed. As part of the findings and addressing some of the identified gaps, YBF has committed to bringing advocacy to the areas of defilement and the consequences for the boy child, juveniles in the same cells as adults due to structural defects, malfunctioning child panels, toll-free hotlines for DSW and DOFSU for social services. There's a need for the provision of these lines to help children who experience abuse to call in due to stigma and the discomfort of walking to a public institution to make complaints. As part of outputs of the Youth Awareness Improves Justice project, relevant policy documents such as the Children's Act 560 and Juvenile Justice Act 653 and sections of the Fundamental Human Rights have been translated to simple SMS messages and audio formats in 4 local languages, namely Akan, Ewe, Ga and Dagbani. Plans are, however, underway to translate these documents to other major Ghanaian languages spoken and written in Ghanaian schools.
We have to also do a lot of prevention work, like Youth Foundation is doing, going to their communities and sensitizing them. We have to look at programs that will prevent the children from committing offenses and target the communities where offenses are high, so that we'll be able to educate the children to desist from activities or behavior that will land them in trouble. Because when they commit offense and they are brought before the law definitely will deal with them, and it will not augur well for their well-being.
Youth Bridge Foundation started well. They ended well, but they have not completed even 1/30th of what they are supposed to do if we really want to minimize the incidence of juvenile delinquency in the districts or municipality. So I'm still advocating and lobbying that they should source for more funds and continue with the good work that they already started.